Whatty Nerdigans. This is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today's hashtag anime nerdigan review is going to be for Natsume Yuujinchou Roku, aka Natsume and the Book of Friends Season 6, Episode 3, titled Nitai-Sama. And before I get to the actual review, let me just briefly go over how I do these reviews because they're just a wee bit different than your average anime tuber. So basically, while I'm watching the anime, I have the corresponding manga chapter in front of me, and because it's supposed to be a manga to anime adaptation, I expect it to be as such. If it doesn't match the manga in certain ways, whether it be scenes skipped or out of order, dialogue completely skipped, inner monologue skipped, whatever, I will call that out, as well as filler that is in the anime, whether it is good or bad. And also facial expressions. That seems to be a huge problem in anime lately, is facial expressions. I don't understand why, but it just is. The only thing I won't bitch about too much are word changes, unless the context of the dialogue in the anime doesn't match what the context of the dialogue of the manga intended. So anyway, it's going to be really hard. I might be really nitpicky in this review because there's really not a lot for me to criticize in this anime. It's hard for me to criticize a lot of the stuff in this anime because this anime is, for the most part, with the exception of what they did last episode, has been for the most part pretty damn perfect. So if I'm very nitpicky, that's why. What was the other thing I was going to mention here? Yeah. And this episode takes place in chapter 74. That's one thing I do have a problem with this anime, is it just like jumps from chapter to chapter. It doesn't go in order, and that kind of bothers me a little bit, but because it adapts the chapters so freaking well, I can't hate it too much for it. Anyway, something that is always skipped except for the first episode of the season, which again, it doesn't bother me, is that ever since I was young, I've sometimes been able to see weird things other people can't see. They're probably what one would call yokai. Like, it would be nice to have it there, but if they don't have it, it's okay, because we did get it at least at the beginning of the season. So, yeah. So there's a little bit of added dialogue with Tanuma and Natsume, which I don't mind. I like that we get a little bit more interaction with them. Especially since usually with these episodes of Natsume Yuujinchou, they're adapting one chapter per episode, and if they're going to put a little bit of filler in to fill like the extra, if there's not enough time to adapt everything in here, or if there's enough time to adapt everything in the chapter and then some, I should say, and they can put a little bit of filler like this, that's fine with me. My Hero Academia does it too, and they do it well as well. They do it pretty damn well too, so I don't mind this little extra dialogue between Tanuma and Natsume at all. Sensei's expressions are so perfect. I love it, especially when, you know, Shibata was basically like, "You brought that ugly cat with you as always," and he's just like, "Meow." I love Miyako Sensei in this anime. He's just so awesome. I actually like the wording they use in the anime a little bit more than the manga. They say that Shibata calls them frail instead of, and in the anime they call him a beanpole, but I still like that they say that both of them, you know, Natsume and Tanuma are saying, you know, Natsume Tanuma isn't a beanpole. I fucking love it. I actually like the anime's wording more. I think beanpole is better than frail, to be honest. So this part of the dialogue was a little bit messed up when Shibata says, Tanuma lives in a temple? It's a temple. This part kind of got skipped. Yeah, this part definitely got skipped. It's a temple, but there's a residence on the premises. Oh, it's good. It just mainly, you know, instead Shibata just mainly, you know, mentioned about Tanuma's father being a priest instead. But yeah, I got you there, anime. I caught you. You made a mistake. Oh man, but other than that little thing, this anime is just freaking awesome. I love it. I love this anime. Even the little added filler that's in it, it's so good. It has everything, including Natsume's inner monologue. It's so nice. So Natsume says now that he's interested, then that he wants Shibata to tell him about this. But in the manga, it's a little bit different. He says it's okay, Shibata, try to tell us. But instead of now that he's interested, because now you're trying to make Natsume kind of selfish. No, Natsume says, is there something you feel bothered by? Like, I kind of don't like it when they say when Natsume says that kind of stuff, because it's kind of out of character for him. Because Natsume's supposed to be very selfless, and he's supposed to be he puts others' problems before himself. So I kind of don't like that they did the wording like that, because it kind of is very out of character for Natsume. Well, yeah, he does say that she's a cheeky and cheerful girl, the girl that Shibata is talking to, the little elementary school girl. But something that he didn't mention that I thought was odd that they left out was that they were gossiping. You would think they would kind of mention that. Shibata said in the anime that she was a brat, which I kind of thought was funny. Instead of a cheeky and cheerful girl, he called her a brat. But and he said that it was several days ago the lightning struck a neighbor's house and that was bothering her. But no, it wasn't several days ago. It was a few days ago. Like, come on! You're doing this anime, sometimes just little things like that. That's why I said at the beginning of this video, just as a warning, I might be nitpicking, because for the most part this anime does a really good job of adapting the manga. It's just little details like that just kind of mess it up, you know what I mean? There's something that was skipped. It was I think it was Tanema's line here. Yeah, it was Tanema that says he says, what about complaining? Yeah, that part was kind of skipped. I mean, and then, Shibata's supposed to go into, about that, the house is supposed to have been vacant for a long time. Yeah, you kind of skipped that. And then this part of the dialogue was completely skipped, which was, moreover, it's a deserted house that's been bearing the eerie nickname Dollhouse since long ago. Look, it's this house, just a vacant house. I thought there might have been some cats or dogs sneaking inside, but when I talked to you, I just remembered. And then we're back to, then the anime is actually where the manga canon is there a reason that it's called a doghouse? So I don't understand why we're skipping some dialogue here, anime. You're better than this. You're better than this. So I was kind of wrong. It wasn't skipped. The dialogue was just out of order, which... this has been happening a lot lately. It happened in Fukumeki Noise, aka Anonymous Noise, as well, where the dialogue is just out of order, and that kind of gets annoying. But I gotta say, the faces that popped up in the window were animated so nicely, and how they just appeared were creepy, and the facial expression on Natsume's face was perfect. That is one thing this anime does right, is facial expressions. And both on Natsume and Miyako Sensei. So this was also skipped as well. This usually was skipped, and also they gave Tanema's dialogue to Natsume. Why did you do that? This is what I'm talking about. This was after when Shibata says, and then Natsume will be sleeping over at Tanema's place. Tanema then says, my father won't be home tonight, so we should go home before long to do house sitting. So because we can idle about as we wish, the plan all along was to have Natsume come for a sleepover. Yeah, that was supposed to be Tanema's plan, or Tanema's dialogue. I don't understand what is the deal. I've noticed that too, is they've just been cutting Tanema's dialogue. I don't understand why they're doing that. It's kind of annoying. So they also gave Tanema's dialogue to Miyako Sensei, which was, I don't mind Natsume. It'll be easier to make a move against Ayakashi at my house than at home having the Fujiwaras involved. Yeah, they gave part of that dialogue to Miyako Sensei, which is not correct. I don't know what it is with this week, just cutting away Tanema's dialogue day. I don't understand that shit, but at least the content is there. I'm just gonna say that. At least the content is there. I can't complain too much. I still love this anime. I'm very biased towards this anime because I love it. I love this manga too. And like it doesn't do what some of the other animes do, which is like completely cut shit to the point where it's unrecognizable. Oh, and never mind, they did have the my place is better equipped to against yokai. They did have that. Tanuma did say that. Never mind. I want to stress change, take that part back. But the stuff about the Fujiwaras was something that was skipped and given to Miyako Sensei instead. I kind of wish they had the annoyed symbol on Natsume a little when or was it about you met Tanuma for the first time today, and already you made him let you sleep over at his house. I wish the annoyed symbol was there, like it should have been there, but yeah, everything else, like all the content has been there. So I can't bash this anime too much. It's just I just can't stand that like a good chunk of Tanuma's dialogue has been given away to either Natsume or to Miyako Sensei, or has just been cut. It's like poor Tanuma, and Tanuma's not my favorite character in this manga. Natsume is definitely my favorite character in this manga. I love Natsume, so it's just like I shouldn't bitch, but seriously, poor Tanuma. Tanuma's house is freaking beautiful. I love how Tanuma's house looks. Shibata said he lived in a condo. He lives in an apartment complex. I just figured that should be corrected. But yeah, I love I love Tanuma's house, and I love them cooking together. And we get a little bit more of added content of them cooking, and it's very cute. I love it. And I love them eating together too. It's really adorable. I like the little extra content we're getting this episode. So this part was supposed to come after while they're eating here. Don't you know any more about the dollhouse, Shibata? Well, I thought I'd keep quiet in order not to scare you, so there are things I didn't tell you. It's not that much of a story though. And then it goes into have you heard about Nitai-Sama? So I just don't understand. And this is some of the things that this is one thing that frustrates me about anime is you give us all this added filler, but you don't have all the dialogue and the content that is actually supposed to be there. That pisses me off. I fucking hate when anime does that. Well, in this case, it's just out of order. Like I can't stand that either. Like it confuses me when the dialogue is just out of order. But sometimes like this, like it just like throws me for a loop. Like I think it's skipped, and then it's like, no, it's just not in the right order, and it's like, God, and it fucks up my notes, and it's so annoying, and I keep forgetting to delete it. I'm sorry, I gotta be a little bit more better about this, but yeah, it was in the wrong order. It was supposed to be, well, I thought I'd keep quiet in order not to scare you, so there are things I didn't tell you. It's not that much of a story, and then it goes into the Nitai-Sama question about the Nitai-Sama. So it was a little bit different in the anime, but I kind of want to read how it was written in the manga, because I kind of like just how it was written better. At least this first part was long ago. A person who collected dolls like crazy lived in that house, and that wasn't because that person liked dolls. But this was actually pretty much worded correctly here in the anime. Was he seemed to be collecting them in order to make a doll he could use for a spell, something like that. But I just didn't like how the first part was worded. It just kind of bothered me. That's why I kind of don't like it when dialogue gets out of order like that, because it kind of ruins the flow a little bit. And also, I think the way they're sitting is wrong too. I think the positioning is wrong. Let me just double check and make sure I'm right on that. Yeah, Natsume is supposed. If you look at the anime at the frame, and this is like at the 9-minute 54-second mark. Tanuma is supposed to be on the right, and Natsume is supposed to be Tanuma's on the right and Natsume's on the left of the anime. And in the manga, Natsume is supposed to be on the right and Tanuma is supposed to be on the left. And I've noticed this a lot, and it gets really annoying when they're positioned wrong. And it's like, God, stop positioning them wrong. And they're supposed to be a lot closer than they are in than what it looks like in the anime here as well. And then Tanuma says in the anime spells, and Tanuma in the manga says, in order to create a doll? Yeah, that would have probably been a little bit better, anime. You could have done a little bit better. I know I'm being extremely nitpicky, but on dialogue right now, but that's the main thing this anime like kind of screws up just a teeny bit on sometimes it kind of messes up on dialogue, and I'm very the bar for the Natsume Yuujinchou anime is raised really high for me, because this is one of the animes I look forward to every week. And it's not one of those animes that I dread reviewing every week. And I expect I have a high level of standard for it. So that's why I'm being extremely nitpicky. So if you have a problem with it, then you can complain about it in the comment section. But I'm curious if you guys have the same kind of issues that I have with this anime that I'm having right now. If you're not, then let me know in the comment section if it like these little things aren't bothering you as much as they're bothering me. But I'm just being a little bit more critical on it because I have a higher standard for this anime. I just want to make sure you guys get the heads up on that. The story, for the most part, about Nitai was so well done. I love the animation of the dolls. I like that we got to see the dolls like broken apart, because we didn't get to see that in the manga. So I like seeing that, and I liked how eerie it looked. I liked seeing the hallway, how eerie that looked as well, because it already looked eerie in the manga, but it looked really creepy as fuck in the anime. But this part was kind of skipped in the story. I don't understand why, but it was this part here. This rumor is pretty detailed. I heard this from the girls, though those scary stories about the dollhouse are secondhand, but the rest of it was there, and it was really well done. I loved it. And that's something that this anime does well, is it does like whether it's memory or like memory / flashback or dream sequences, or even story sequences like this, it does a really good job of animating it and bringing it to life, and it's really done nicely. That's one thing I can tell you about this anime that I really enjoy compared to a lot of the other animes. They can't do the flashback and dream sequence animes and the storytelling that this anime does. That's one thing that this anime has over the majority of animes right now. The facial expressions of this anime are just so fucking amazing. I fucking love it, how everyone's like getting scared and everything. It's just so perfect. But this was like the annoyed symbol on Natsume's head was kind of missing, though, when he was saying wasn't Shibata the one talking about just now. But this one was kind of skipped. This part of, again, I don't know why this episode is let's skip Tanuma's lines week. But anyway, this was skipped. Anyways, I don't think it's likely that this Nitai-Sama will come here, but I'll go around and lock the doors anyway. I think hold on a second. Let me just double check and make sure it was there. Oh no, it was there. I'm sorry. It was there after, I'm sorry. I got confused because of the filler, because there was a little filler of like, of them getting spooked by the wind, and then Tanuma went to go close the windows. I like that little filler of them getting extra spooked. That was really, really funny. I fucking love it. Like, them getting scared is just freaking amazing. I love it so goddamn much. Where Shibata was skipped from Natsume's mouth, but whatever. But this anime is great. I love the filler they put in here. It's just so fucking hilarious as hell. And I love like when they're both like grabbing onto each other's shoulders. They did that like little chain in the manga for a brief moment, but I love how they did it a little bit longer in the anime. I thought that was cute. You were doing so well in the inner monologues, but this inner monologue was skipped. Which was, if we stay together, the situation will repeat itself again and again. I kind of wish that was there before, like, Tanuma answered. That would have been nice, but the dialogue the conversation between Tanuma and Natsume was really nice, even though Tanuma had a yes skip from it. But I really like Tanuma's lines were so perfect, saying that he wanted to stay with Natsume. He'd rather not be an outsider, and he's fine with Natsume dragging him into every situation that he's in, and he likes that he's relying on him. I really like that. That was cute. And then Nyaku sensei coming in. I love it. This was just this scene is really well done. I love the way Nyako Sensei does his negotiations. He's like, just get. Well, he says melon instead of watermelon, and he says melon in the anime instead of watermelon in the manga. But as long as he mentions that for his the fruit for his negotiations, fine. I mean, I just thought that was so funny and it's so cute. I love Nyako Sensei. He's just adorable. I don't understand why we're cutting out more, inner monologue here, which was I love the greedy shit with the Nyako Sensei saying that he wants his fried shrimp, but this was skipped as well, which was Shibata. No, I can still hear the sound of water, but where's the sound was coming from was there. Sounds like someone's walking through the grass, the lower window. But I just don't get, like, were you just not doing inner monologues anymore? I hate when anime gets bipolar like this. Stop being bipolar, anime. Just decide if you're gonna, it's all or nothing with inner monologues for me. Seriously. Just decide. If you're not gonna do inner monologues, then don't do it at all. But if you are, then do it for the whole thing, please. Okay, and this part was skipped too, which was, it's dark so I can't see well, but there are traces of someone standing in the grass. And the doll's feet were awesome, but you said legs in the anime, which is wrong. It's feet. And Natsume says feet, or he's thinking feet, and that's correct. It's and then he's thinking it's Nitai-Sama, but holy freaking shit! Like because in the manga, it's not, the legs aren't drawn very much like doll legs, and the anime they look like doll legs. They totally do, and it's very, very nice to see. But again, why are we not having inner monologues, anime? I'm just getting serious. Like, why? Why are we not? This was skipped from Shibata, but before I get to that, I want to say I really like how, they had the extra dialogue of Tanuma mentioning that he's getting a headache. Because remember, that's just part of his thing. He gets headaches from Ayakashi being nearby. So I like that. That was added in there. But this was skipped from Shibata, which was somehow, I don't know what it is, but it feels spooky. And also, my imagination was skipped from Shibata as well. So they kind of screwed up the dialogue here. First of all, Natsume didn't say okay, just okay, thanks to Shibata. He said, okay, I'll be counting on you. And this is what Tanuma said in the manga. Here, Natsume, there's this one charm we can use on the first floor. I remember there being an identical one on the second floor. Let's search for it. That wasn't what was exactly said on in the anime. They said something completely different. That I looked all around and all I found was this charm, and I remember there being a charm in the attic, not the second floor. He just said the attic, so I thought that was kind of weird. But everything else was this was not correct either. This was skipped too. Tanuma, once we found it, we'll come back immediately. But everything else was correct. Even the Nyako stuff. And then we got a little bit of extra stuff, extra content. And I really like that, Natsume was questioning it, why it was made. I really like that, because that's something that I wish was in the manga. But the doll itself, when it came in, the doll is beautifully creepy. And the animation for this doll is so, so nice. I really like it. Something that the anime did, and I'm totally fine with it, was they moved the scene with Shibata and Tanuma until after Natsume was about to get attacked by the second doll. And I was totally fine with it because it worked with the flow of the events in the anime. It worked really nicely. And then we got and I like the extra content we got with Tanuma and Shibata, the conversation that they had. That was really nice as well. Then this was cut from, or this was completely skipped, this inner monologue. Again, I don't know why we're skipping inner monologues, but this was skipped. From Tanuma's inner monologue. Natsume, what? I can't see well, but something's there. He did say Ayakashi though, and we have the charm Natsume. That stuff was there. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. This is the that was skipped, or it was changed for Take This, and then that was in the first one. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else in my notes right now. No, but the animation though, oh my god, the animation of the fight and everything is really nice, and I love seeing I always love seeing Sensei go into his true form, animated. It's so beautiful. And this part was skipped too. Like, we got some of the inner monologue, but this was skipped. Friends talk to you in order to show their feelings. I somehow grew to wanting to do that. This is and then, we got that makes me happy. That's with the excitement of fear and that good feeling of having them cleared. Everyone was wide awake, and without proper sleep, we moved towards the next morning. Shibata had the extracurricular today too, so he went home at the crack of dawn in a lot of commotion. And it says several days later in the anime. No, it was a few days later. But anyway, let's make sure that there's nothing else here. This episode ended fucking perfectly. Everything was adapted perfectly at the end. It was perfect, and I don't know what's going on. Why we're being bipolar about inner monologues all of a sudden, Natsume Yuujinchou, but I love this anime so much. I do. I love the extra filler we got. A little bit of the filler we got. I just don't understand why we didn't get some of the inner monologues. Why we're being bipolar on that, and why we're cutting some of the dialogue, but everything, the music is so, I love this soundtrack. I might have to buy this soundtrack. I really love the soundtrack. The animation is really good. The facial expressions for the most part are really good. This episode, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this episode, and it reminds me why I look forward to Natsume Yuujinchou Roku every week. And I'm just hoping that next week, I keep thinking, next week we'll get an episode where things won't be skipped like in the first, episode 1, but episode 1 is still the best episode of the season. I'm not gonna lie, episode 1 was just too fucking perfect, but this episode was really, really nice. I really liked it. It was well done. The animation was beautiful, especially for the dolls. I liked the bonding that we had. The facial expressions were really nice. Some of the positioning was off, and some of the dialogue might have been off a little bit, but for the most part, this was a really, really solid episode. I'm very, very happy with it, minus, some of the things that were skipped. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you guys think of this anime? This is probably my favorite anime of 2017, as well as My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is my favorite, no doubt. Anyway, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nerdigans Inc. if you love what I'm doing and want to contribute to the Nerdigans Inc. expansion. There's a few ways you could do that. You can donate to the Nerdigans Inc. PayPal, Patreon, or purchase something off the Nerdigans Inc. Amazon wishlist. All those links are in the description box below. Also, make sure you follow me on the Twits, aka Twitter. Follow my Twitch channel and friend me on PlayStation Network. All that's in the description box below as well. Until next time, Nerdigans, I'll be seeing you later. Bye!